Tell me, how would you differentiate love from hate? War from peace? Happiness from sadness? Are there differences defined by the absence or presence of something? Or maybe they are determined by the lack or abundance of a specific deciding factor. Take the concepts of good and evil as an example. Let's say, for argument's sake, that to be good is to strictly adhere to everything that is morally and ethically right. And to be evil is to do only the exact opposite. That is, morally and ethically wrong things. If we go by these oversimplifications, should a generally good person be called evil the moment they slip up and make a mistake? What about the reverse? Should a notoriously bad person be pardoned and labeled good the minute they have a change of heart? Think about that one. In real life, even established dichotomies have gray areas, and even things presented as being entirely different can overlap, muddling lines and blurring distinctions. This begs the question, are things truly only ever one thing or the other? Halika na, ibunyag natin ang nakatago. When he was studying Filipino family structures, Edwin Almiral wrote, "One cannot fail to observe the existence of a complex structure of loyalty and interdependence. Dependence on and loyalty to the family and kin group is paramount." If we take out the fancy academic words, what Almiral means to say is that to Filipinos, family is the main support system. But what exactly defines family in Filipino culture? Well, to Filipinos, family is less about blood relations and more about the idea of community. In the Philippines, there is a concept called kababayan, which literally means people of the same nation. Not just those who relate to you by blood, but also those who relate to your struggles and support you in them. So, this familial support Almirol refers to actually goes beyond your bloodline. In simple terms, a Filipino family is not defined by the presence of blood ties. Instead, it is defined by the values you observe around certain people. Filipino society generally places great importance on familiar relationships and values. We even see this in the comics. First, we have pagpapahalaga ng pamilya, which involves maintaining strong and close family ties. Placing family before anything else, and making sure to involve family in crucial matters. When we look at the Tresa family, the Kambal, the Tikbalang clan, and even the Bagyon clan, we feel the strong family ties holding these big groups together. We also see the practice of putting family first in the way different characters react during dangerous situations involving those they love. Throughout several moments, we see the Trese family, especially Anton Trese, place the safety of its members before all else. When Maliksig got himself into trouble, Senor Armanus sought out Trese asking for her help in finding his son. We even see the importance of family in Baguio Electro's betrayal, turning on the Trese family after the death of his son and choosing family over loyalty ties. Second, We have the values of hospitality and pakikisama, which refers to companionship. This value is really obvious in the way Anton Trece treats and takes in the Kambal, Crispin and Basilio. Despite the countless people pleading and advising him against doing so, Anton goes out of his way to accommodate the twins and welcome them as his own. He recognized the fact that these children were not killing machines because they chose to be. Rather, they had to be given their circumstances. Lastly, with the values of pagmamahal and utang na loob. Utang na loob is a value unique to the Filipino culture. It entails having a sense of duty and responsibility, feeling the need to repay those who help, and returning favors with goodness. All 3 points apply to the Kambal and their service to the Trece family, as repayment for Anton Trece's endless grace and generosity. Trece actually addresses the question of what exactly family means through the Kambal. Ever heard of the saying, blood is thicker than water? Well, many people use this phrase to argue that blood ties will always be stronger and of greater importance compared to the chosen or found ties. What most don't know is that the original saying is actually much longer, and it goes, "The blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the wound." What this means is that the bond of those who have shed blood together in the battlefield is stronger than family ties. Completely different from the more popular version of the saying, right? Now, this does not mean that you have to literally shed blood with your chosen family. It simply means that those who have overcome challenges together relate to each other more and tend to have more solid connections. The Kambal story displays the complexities between blood family and found family, because while they did have biological relatives, they found their place home and true family in the Treces. Despite the way Ramona raised them, Crispin and Basilio genuinely loved their mother. And this is shown in how hard they try to protect and defend her by trying to kill Taragbusao, their biological father. For extremely young children who, in their early years, grew up without a father and have only ever known a life of violence, it must have taken an unimaginable amount of courage, strength, and love to attack their remaining blood relative. The Kambal knew Talagbusa was their father, but they did not hesitate to attempt to defeat him after he brutally murdered their mother in front of them. That's kinda dark. From a young age, the Kambal have learned to recognize that blood ties do not automatically make the family member. They acknowledge Talagbusa as their biological father, but not once did they see him as a father figure. Clear difference. To them, Anton Trece was the closest thing to a father because he was the one who took them in, helped them realize their potential to be and do good, and showed them what a loving family truly is, not Talagbusa. In the final battle, Talagbusa takes Trece hostage, getting the Kambal to submit. It is only after Trece orders them to shoot that they open fire on Talagbusa once again. With that simple action, the Kambal make their decisions clear. If we look at the Kambal's childhood, it's easy to blame Ramona and criticize her for her horrible parenting skills. She was bad. After all, the Kambal grew up in rebel camps as killing machines, and Ramona, their mother, allowed them to live in their violent behavior and inherited bloodlust. Some argue that Ramona had purely selfish reasons for raising the boys the way she did, and maybe that's true. Does this automatically make Ramona a bad character? No, not necessarily. But it does highlight the importance of having nuanced female characters, rather than flat one-dimensional ones, especially if the goal is to create a fair representation. Though it may seem so upon first read, Ramona is Alexandra Trece's foil. Again, if you fall asleep through your English classes, a foil character is someone that directly contrasts another. The two parallel each other while simultaneously underlying their differences. Both are women taking on traditionally masculine roles as leaders in their own right. Trece, a babae lang mandirigma, and Ramona as a clan leader. Both are driven and determined to achieve their goals and see some semblance of justice be served. Both are strong fighters in the literal and figurative sense of the word, and both are loyal and dedicated to protecting those they love. But we do see their distinct differences in their hows and whys. In general, they have very different approaches to how they do things. For the most part, Trista does not believe that the ends justify the means. Seen in how she punishes those that do wrong regardless of their intentions. Ramona, on the other hand, acts with the belief that ends do justify the means. Seen in how she raises her own children and avenged her tribe. On that note, as we've established, Tressa's ideas of justice is more idealistic of a vigilante, while Ramona's retributive, evident in how she even made General Hidalgo go through the exact same thing she and her tribe had gone through all those years ago. They also had very different morals and motivations. The peace among the realms and the balance between the Terramundo and the underworld are generally what drive Tressa's actions. In contrast, Ramona was constantly on survival mode, with revenge fueling her decisions. Lastly, they grew up and lived through completely different situations. Teresa most definitely had her share of trials and tribulation, but she was raised in a loving and supportive family with morally good values. While it was never explicitly stated, Ramona was believed to have grown up around rebels and raiders. That is not to say she did not experience love, just not the same kind Tressa did. When comparing Ramona to Miranda Trece, the other prominent mother figure in the comics, it is easy to fall into the traps of harshly judging or criticizing Ramona for how she treated her children. It is true that she did not allow questionable things, but that did not make her a completely horrible mother. We have to remind that Tagbusao impregnated her, most likely against her will, and she had to raise the kambal on her own. She did not know much about being a mother, but she did the best she could given her abilities and circumstances. Her priority was her survival as well as her kids, and even in her dying moments, she never lost sight of that. Do her unfortunate experience excuses her actions? No. But they do provide more context as to why is the way she is. Alexandra Trece is not perfectly faultless character. Despite being the heroine of the comics, Trece has a fatal flaw. In certain cases, Trece can be too emotionally detached from situations. We see this aspect of hers in how she kills Bagyon Kulimlim. Additionally, she is also willing to let certain things slide and occasionally act against her morals if there is something she needs or wants in return. She needed something from Senor Armanas, and so she helped his son, Maliksi, get out of trouble despite his criminal offenses. But she was unable to grant Kulimlim the same grace unwillingly to make an enemy out of his father, Bagyon Lectro, despite his pleas. Teresa also regularly spoils Nuno with high-quality chocolate from duty-free when she needs to use his tunnels and connections or gather information in general. This is kind of questionable when we consider the fact that Nuno works for the highest bidder and is not a guaranteed reliable source. Teresa and Ramona are flawed and complex, but contrary to what mainstream media portrays, nuanced characters are exactly what true female representation calls for. True representation is complicated representation. Mainstream media in the Philippines is notorious for painting women in the same one-dimensional light. In telenovelas, women are either angry masterminds
Don't stop! Go on!
Or gullible victims. Only a handful of Filipino movies perfectly represents womanhood and its complexities well. One of the best examples in mainstream Filipino media is Four Sisters and a Wedding. True, the movie maintains the Filipino flair for the dramatic. The four sisters and the mother each show a unique take on or aspect of womanhood. Because they are different people, they also have different characteristics, dreams, aspirations, and etc. This movie gives an accurate depiction of how women actually are, human and layered. If we're taking international, we have movies like Maleficent and Little Women, or books like Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo to turn to for actual female representation. When TV shows and other media display different kinds of women that deviate from the stereotypes or the ideals of modern feminism, they aren't necessarily making women look bad. They're making women look and feel real. You achieve real representation when you are able to show within a single story that people of a certain group, in this case women, are complex. Meaning some are morally upright while some are not. Some support the correct side and some do not. Their characters can make good choices or certain days wrong choices on the other days. When you make something look and feel normal and not even more out of place, e.g. a singular female superhero whose story still revolves around men, a story wherein the villains are strictly female, or an overpowered female protagonist with absolutely no weakness, then you can say there's good representation. The parallels and divergent qualities between Ramona and Trece counteract the harmful notions that womanhood is synonymous with moral superiority, innocence, and purity. Neither are shallow or one-dimensional. Both characteristics that are strangely prevalent in the female characters of modern media. If we as a society see more complex female characters, then we may also be able to stop putting women on a moral pedestal. This will allow us to see women for their actions, characters, and humanity rather than their gender or expectations associated with their gender. While it can be empowering to see female figures excel in traditionally male-dominated fields, that is not the only representation that exists. In a sense, that kind of representation still reduces womanhood to a woman's ability in relation to a man's ability. On top of Ramona Alexandra Trece, we have characters like Nida, Oriel, Nora, and Heather, all female characters that are not echoes of stereotypes. Tan and Baldissimo do a great job of representing women without reducing them to stereotypes or dehumanizing ideals of what society feels a woman is or should be. They show us that a woman is not defined by the lack of abundance of strength and weaknesses. Representing group means not reducing its members to caricatures or masks. Women are humans, not masks. That said, they should be capable of taking on any role in a story. And that concludes our episode.
It's no secret that literature and media have the power to move people and become symbols of change. And in our own history, we have seen the capability of literature in inciting emotions in Jose Rizal's magnum opera, Noli Me Tangere and El Filibusterismo. Trece has the exact same potential to become not only a catalyst for social-political discourse, but also a symbol of hope and justice for the modern Filipinos of today, and even the future. Just like Alexander Trese's story, the fight for justice, true justice, for the common people will never be over until the monsters of the mortal realm are vanquished.